Hello and welcome to The Point. Tonight we look at two stories that are at the top of the news agenda. What does the massive turnout yesterday suggest? Could this be a sign of a Modi wave? But first, the bizarre and objectionable comments by Samajwadi Party leaders. Yesterday, Mulayam Singh Yadav spoke of rape as if it were a mere mistake. Today, his colleague Abu Azmi has said women in live-in relationships often allege rape after fighting with their partners. Do these gentlemen realize how much they've offended the Indian people? Or do they simply not care? With me to discuss Mulayam Singh Yadav and Abu Azmi's comment is Congress spokesperson Ami-Ben Yagnik, BJP spokesperson Shaina NC, the well-known human rights lawyer Vrinda Grover, and Samajwadi Party spokesperson Gaurav Bhatia. Vrinda Grover, I'm going to quote precisely what, in fact, Mulayam Singh Yadav said yesterday. लड़के लड़के हैं, गलती हो जाती है, इसके लिए मतलब नहीं कि फांसी दी जाए. He's deliberately using the word galti or mere mistake to describe rape. Do you get the feeling that he's doing it because he wants to diminish what is in the eyes of everyone else a heinous crime?
Yes, I think there is an intent behind this, and he has thought about what he wants to say. Coming from Mulayam Singh Yadav, it is not surprising. Similar remarks from him and his party members, party leaders, have been made in the past. This was the kind of bhashan that he was giving in the Lok Sabha, even as the Parliament was discussing the amendments to the bill. He was saying that he does not agree with the amendments, although his party was compelled to vote, because the people of India were way ahead of where his party and his leadership is. What he's doing here is two things. He is saying that rape or violence against women, particularly sexual violence, is not a crime. He's calling it a mistake, a galti. A galti does not entail any punitive consequences. For a galti, you can tell somebody, beta, agli baar mat karna. Rape is a heinous, grievous crime under the Indian Penal Code, a law that he and his party, while in power or even otherwise, are committed to uphold. He is also actually speaking to a constituency largely of men with a medieval feudal mindset, which see rape as part of the fun that men are entitled to. And he's telling them, I want your vote because I'm going to allow you to use women and their body as playthings, and no action will be taken against you. Okay. He's also telling the women across the country and in Uttar Pradesh that we are not standing for the dignity and respect of women. We do not believe that you deserve any rights. We do not believe that you are equal citizens. If you stand up, you will be silenced with this outcry of false rape cases. You will be socially ostracized.
Okay.
You will be done. Your character assassination will take place. And this is the way the silencing and intimidation is being done. It's extremely regrettable that at a moment when we are just beginning to make a break,
can I stop you?
Denial, silence, stigma that has been attached.
You know, that's a very full answer. Let me bring in Ami-Ben Yagnik. What's even worse, Ms. Yagnik, is that Mulayam Singh claims that girls often make false accusations of rape because a relationship with a boy has broken down. In fact, as he put it, लड़कियां पहले दोस्ती करती हैं, लड़के लड़की में मतभेद हो जाता है, मतभेद होने के बाद उसे रेप का नाम दिया जाता है. And he therefore claims that when he comes to power, he's going to change the law to ensure that people who make false accusations are punished. Now, are false accusations really a serious problem, and does the law need to be amended to tackle this issue? Or is he manufacturing something out of thin air? Ami-Ben Yagnik, did you hear me?
Can you just repeat the last sentence, please?
The last sentence was, are false accusations really a problem, as Mulayam Singh Yadav is suggesting, or is he manufacturing something out of thin air to build a case for himself?
Mr. Thapar, I think Mr. Mulayam Singh has little or no understanding of women's dignity. The way he has made this statement, he does not even know the law, he does not know anything about the constitution, let alone the women's respect and dignity. Now these kind of statements is a statement, practically a sweeping statement, his own opinion or his own thinking, which just cannot be tolerated. And I don't think so even an apology would suffice. He just cannot make these kind of statements. These are very, very serious accusations, very serious thoughts which is telling to the people of this nation, and is a clear-cut violation, I would say, even a violation of the women's rights today, that he is insulting them by saying such things.
You know, I want to point out to the audience that Gaurav Bhatia, the spokesperson who was going to join us from the Samajwadi Party, is late. We're not sure whether he's going to turn up at all. I happen to have noticed today that he's the third or fourth person of the Samajwadi Party who accepted our invitation to come and then at the last moment rang to say he wouldn't. Gaurav Bhatia, as of now, is still expected, but I'm not sure whether at the end of the day this isn't a ploy by the Samajwadi Party to duck an issue of incredible importance which is turning into an embarrassment for them. I'm simply pointing that out. I'd be very happy if Gaurav Bhatia turns up, but as of now, we simply don't know where he is and why he hasn't turned up. But Shaina NC, on this day, when quite clearly the Samajwadi Party is embarrassed and their spokesmen are running for cover, Abu Azmi has stepped in and bizarrely made an already embarrassing situation considerably worse, because he's gone on record to say that women in live-in relationships allege rape after fighting with their partners. And then he adds that both men and women who have sex outside marriage, whether it's with consent or without, should be stoned. What do you make of the fact that day after day, Samajwadi Party leaders, and these are important leaders, are making these grotesque statements?
Absolutely regressive, and I think that, you know, the entire Samajwadi Party top leadership clearly needs some kind of sex education to understand what rape is. It's an atrocity against a woman. It's exerting your power and exercising it with no respect to the opposite sex. And there you're equating a relationship by consent and suggesting that even that applies to rape. I think it's absolutely shocking that you had Samajwadi Party leader Singh Yadav term to the perpetrators of crime as a bechara. And I really think that on 16th May, the biggest bechara in this country is going to be Mulayam Singh Yadav and the Samajwadi Party, because this vote bank, which is women across the party, across the country, is not going to take it lying down. We're going to give a befitting reply through the ballot, and we're going to make sure that every Samajwadi Party candidate is boycotted and not voted for purely on their regressive statement and disrespect for women. Whether it's Abu Azmi or whether it's Mulayam Singh Yadav or whether it's the justification of all their leaders to kind of suggest that they are for the woman when they're nothing but treat women as objects, and it's objectification of the womankind.
Vinita Grover, I want to put this to you. We're almost 8 or 9 minutes into this show. The Samajwadi Party representative has failed to turn up. And as I pointed out earlier, 3 earlier ones agreed to come and then didn't come. Mr. Bhatia still expected. Is this, in your eyes, a sign that the party is so embarrassed they can't even find it in themselves to defend either Mulayam Singh Yadav or Abu Azmi? Is it acceptable that a party where the head of the party claims he wants to be Prime Minister, and Mr. Mulayam Singh has said that quite openly, goes silent and perhaps ducks for cover rather than either apologizing or at least defending what their man has said?
Well, clearly what is happening is that they have realized that this is the indefensible. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia has a degree in law, and therefore he knows 2 things which I want to point out to you. Under the Indian Penal Code, under section 195 of the Indian Penal Code, if you give false evidence in a court in order to lead to a conviction of a person, it is a crime already in the Penal Code, and you can be punished up to 7 years. Therefore, if there is a false case, a worry and an anxiety that seems to have besieged Mulayam Singh Yadav, there is recourse in law. Insofar as Abu Azmi is concerned, live-in relationships are given recognition under the law. Live-in relationships under the Domestic Violence Act, which are in the nature of marriage, are recognized as relationships where women are deserving of protection. Therefore, if there is sexual abuse, which constitutes domestic violence, sexual abuse within a live-in relationship, the court will step forward and give protection to the woman. What Mulayam Singh and Abu Azmi are saying is contrary to the law of the land. Also, what is happening here is that they are saying women are not equal citizens. Therefore, the constitution which they swear by when they go and sit in the Assembly and the Parliament of India is what they are saying we have no faith in. In fact, I heard Abu Azmi, he said under Islamic law, this is the punishment that will be given. May I remind them that we live in a republic, in a constitutional democracy. We have rights that stem from the Constitution of India. The Samajwadi Party cannot come before you to answer any question. They actually cannot come before the women and the right-minded thinking people of this country even to now ask for a vote. Unfortunately, what they are banking on is the misogynist culture that exists in Indian society, to which all political parties play at a relevant time. Therefore, when political party spokespersons or spokeswomen come and say that, you know, we take great umbrage at this, I'm sorry, somewhere it strikes hollow, because in their own hinterland, precisely all this is going on.
Let me bring in Ami Ben Yagnik. There is a clear suggestion there from Vrinda Grover that although parties like the BJP in Congress are today very upset and expressing outrage both at Mulayam Singh Yadav and Abu Azmi, at the end of the day, politicians are all the same, and all of them, in one way or another, show the same disrespect for women and their rights. How do you respond to that? Because it's a direct charge both at you and Shaina NC.
I understand what Vrinda's charge is against political parties, but here we are talking about an issue which is of most importance as far as this constitution goes. And because of the Constitution of India, we have got a plethora of laws that empower women in our country. And all these rights that are given to women, they give back her dignity and the life which she really needs, an opportunity. Now making these kind of sweeping statements either by Mulayam Singh or Abu Azmi without understanding the law, the empowerment of women, the rights given to women or the dignity of women, I think they should have a proper understanding before they speak. They are human beings first, they are people of society first, and then they belong to a political party. I think the political party to whom they belong have to take into consideration what their leaders are speaking, and definitely when they make these kind of derogatory remarks against women, they have to ask an explanation from them that how do you bring your personal thoughts, which are not thoughts at all, these are absolutely some kind of rubbish thinking.
Ami Ben Yagnik, let me stop you. Let me stop you. We have, I believe, Gaurav Bhatia with us on a telephone line. Let me make use of it while we have him. Gaurav Bhatia, we're discussing Mulayam Singh Yadav's comments on rape yesterday. We're discussing Abu Azmi's comments about live-in relationships and men and women who have sex with each other outside marriage made today. And I want to put a very...
listen to me first.
Just a moment, let me finish first. Let me finish, Mr. Bhatia, so that you know what you're being asked.
I need to make a point before you start asking me questions. The important point is I was hearing your program and you said that Mr. Gaurav Bhatia had committed that he will not come on my show. Let me just tell you here, your technical team is here and they could not set up the communication with you. Okay, so at least be sure before you start casting aspersions or when you make
Mr. Bhatia, Mr. Bhatia, just a moment, pause a moment. Mr. Bhatia, you were late coming for the show. The show had begun. You were 5 minutes late. After that, when you came, the technical problem was discovered. I don't deny that now you are being withheld from us because of a technical problem, but you were late coming in the first place.
The reputation of every individual is very important. That's all I have. That's all that my party has. If we have to
then Mr. Bhatia, the point I was making, Mr. Bhatia, is that in fact you were the third or the fourth person that we invited. The earlier two people accepted and let us down. You didn't want to give us an answer till 7 o'clock in the evening, and even at 7 when I spoke to you, the most you could say to me was that you were 90% confirmed. We had to bank on a 90% confirmation as what would hope turn into a 100% one. And then after that you were late coming to us. We had no idea where you are.
Commitments I have If I commit to you and I don't appear, I think I've let you down. When I don't make a commitment and you say wrong things on the channel that
Mr.
the
Bhatia,
person of Samajwadi
Mr.
Party
Bhatia.
are running for cover, I think you are being uncharitable. And I just want to place the right facts before the viewers.
All right, if you've got that off your chest, now let's continue with what is much more the important
Absolutely,
question.
yes,
Mr.
yes.
Mulayam Singh and Mr. Abu Azmi's comments. And I want to put this to you, Mr. Bhatia. Those comments by those two gentlemen have so deeply offended the Indian people and so heinously offended Indian women that do you believe now the time has come for you to apologize, to A, accept that both men made a silly mistake, and secondly, that they need to apologize?
Now, Karan, regarding Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav's statement, today is an election rally because his statements, first of all, were distorted. The entire speech was never shown. And he made a speech today addressing the audience. First and most importantly, he said that the Samajwadi Party has immense respect for the women. And in all rape cases, he is for strict action against the guilty.
Can I interrupt?
Let me just
Can I interrupt? You're saying that, forgive me, I'm interrupting you. You're saying that Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav's comments should be seen in context. In what context does it become acceptable to describe rape as a mere mistake? It's a heinous crime, but when you describe it as a mere mistake, and you know this because you're a lawyer, you are diminishing it. So
I am a lawyer and I am fully well aware of my responsibility as a lawyer as well. But I would first like to place his entire statement correctly so that you also have the right perspective before you start asking
I'm asking you that question. Give me the context that would convince Vrinda Grover or Amibed Yagnik or Shaina NC that somehow this wasn't an offensive thing.
Samajwadi Party representative to make clearly the statement that has been made by Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav. I think you should have the patience when your entire debate revolves around that
Instead
statement.
of giving me a lecture, answer the question and get to the point.
Yeah.
The
So
name
first
of the
all,
show is To the Point. I request you to come to the point.
In the speech today that he is for strict action against persons who commit heinous crimes like rape or other crime against women, one. And two, he said that the party has respect for women. Third, he said that his statement has been distorted because nobody has played the entire speech. And
All right.
one very important point, we might have a difference of opinion when it comes to capital punishment for rape. In democracy, you are entitled to voice your opinion.
Absolutely.
If we don't have the
I'm
numbers,
just pointing out
we will
it's a
fail in the
heinous opinion
parliament.
to voice. That's what I'm pointing out. He has every right to it. No one's stopping him. No one's censoring him.
And
Will he
if
have
we don't have the numbers, we will fail in the parliament.
let just a moment.
But if
You've
we
given
can
an
convince others-
explanation, Mr. Bhatia. Pause a moment. Let's see whether your explanation has convinced anyone. Shaina NC, you first. Are you convinced by that explanation from Gaurav Bhatia that the context in which rape was described as a mere mistake somehow explains away the comment and its offensiveness? Do you accept that?
Absolutely not, and I think Mr. Bhatia himself is lost in translation if he can't figure what his leader said. His leader clearly said, आदमी से तो गलती होती है. उन्होंने कहा कि ये बेचारे को सजाए मौत नहीं देनी चाहिए. हमारी सरकार आएगी तो हम देखेंगे कि उनको सजाए मौत नहीं मिले. Now please explain to me, if your leader of your party, the tallest leader of your party, can't understand that there is a difference between passing a generic comment, objectification of women, and on the other hand suggesting that rape, which is a heinous crime where every woman activist has been only agitating for fear of law, you kind of say we'll make sure law becomes so easy for you that you can continue to be perpetrators of crime. What justification is this? And then to top it all, you have a junior leader who we don't even want to give the status of leadership, Abu Azmi, trying to equate rape with live-in relationships. Where is the logic? Please ask me. Either you're inept to understand, or if you are, then you must educate yourself to find out what does rape actually classify as.
All right,
It is suppressing a woman, exerting your power and showing that you are one up on the opposite sex, which we are not going to take down lying
Okay.
down.
Vrinda
And
Grover.
we are not just a vote bank, we are a voice full of vote bank.
Vrinda Grover, whilst Gaurav Bhatia is on that line, give him a good convincing case why the women of India, in fact the nation as a whole, because this is more than just a women's issue, is owed an apology. Make it on my behalf directly and let's see what he says in response.
I think what Mr. Bhatia has been asked to do is to step in as a lawyer, because yesterday the party spokespersons were hopeless, and to defend the indefensible as a loyal foot soldier. Mr. Bhatia, we have all heard Mr. Mulayam Singh. I understand Hindi very well. He was not talking about capital punishment. Now what you are doing is a very desperate, despicable way of interpreting what Mulayam Singh has done. It's the women's groups, the women's movement in India, which is constantly making the distinction between saying we reject capital punishment, but we insist on prosecution and punishment for rape. Your party does not stand for civil liberties and democratic rights. You are either pandering to a constituency or trying to shame women. Today, what you are saying and what Abu Azmi is saying is that you will not allow sexuality freedom, you will not allow autonomy, you will not allow agency, either to women or to the youth of this country.
Okay.
You are trying to strangle all the people. It's not just about women. Karan is absolutely right. Therefore, kindly do not now try to strike this into capital punishment. We oppose capital punishment.
Okay.
I have not heard the Samajwadi Party in decades talk about capital punishment.
Let me stop you.
You owe an apology, a very big apology to the people of this country. You are going to receive the reply at the ballot. The women are now becoming a political constituency with a political voice. I think you need to hear the sound of change that is coming.
Gaurav Bhatia, I'm not going to interrupt you. You've got a clear 1 minute to respond directly to Vrinda Grover, Shaina NC and Ami Ben Yagnik. All three of them in one voice have demanded an apology, and they've told you why that apology is not just necessary, but it must be delivered immediately. Let's have your response. Gaurav Bhatia? Gaurav Bhatia? Gaurav Bhatia, deafening silence is your answer, and you're going to blame me once again for misrepresenting your position, aren't you? Just when you were needed to apologize,
but Karanji, what do you expect him to say?
You're absolutely right. Ami Ben Yagnik, I'm going to give you the last word. He's disappeared once again. He blamed me for giving him a bad name when I claimed he was late.
Say one thing.
Sorry, go ahead quickly.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead. Brinda Grover, Shaina NC and Ami Ben Yagnik. First Brinda Grover, but quick answers because we're out of time.
Saying, just a minute. Yes, Karan.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, can an apology be sufficient from an elected representative who says he does not believe in the Constitution of India? I think Mulayam Singh Yadav and his ilk need to resign from their positions.
All right. Quickly, Shaina NC, a demand for resignation from Brinda Grover.
I think the Election Commission also needs to take note of Abu Azmi's, inciting the Islam laws, etc., and trying to suggest that rape is condemnable, etc., but also inflicting a certain kind of communal angle to it.
Okay.
And the second point is that I'm slightly disappointed with the Women's Commission, which reaction and response should have come much earlier, which it didn't in this particular case.
But
and I just wish we as women would be more
the Women's
proactive
Commission,
and
just to set the record straight, has now issued a formal notice to Mulayam Singh. They have stepped in.
It has at 2 o'clock today.
Absolutely. So they have acted. We can't say they haven't acted. And yesterday, remember, was voting in Delhi. The Women's Commission is located in Delhi. It was a holiday in Delhi. So there is good reason for them being somewhat delayed. Very quickly, Ami Ben Yagnik, I want to ask you a specific question. I want a specific answer. What do you make of the fact that Gaurav Bhatia at that critical point disappeared? When an apology was demanded by you and your colleagues on this panel, there was deafening silence from him. A quick 10 seconds and then I'm out.
Mr. Thapar, apology alone would not suffice. I think it is time these political leaders who make these sweeping statements will have to take a commitment and will have to take a call to change their mindset by brushing violence and endorsing violence by branding it as a mistake is absolutely not tolerable. So they will have to give an undertaking to the people of the nation to change their mindset about women's dignity.
Absolutely.
That is what I would say on your channel.
Absolutely right. The situation has gone beyond remedy by apology, and apologies are often quite meaningless, usually because they're delivered insincerely. But I'm going to note once again that at that critical moment when we were hoping that he would at least reply, Gaurav Bhatia was absent. You have to make up your mind yourself why he suddenly disappeared. My thanks to all my three guests and my apologies that we had problems with Gaurav Bhatia, first to begin with DOB and then on that phone line. Raising questions against the Samajwadi Party is not an easy thing to do. Today you've seen for yourself that when they're embarrassed by their leaders, how they don't want to face up to the situation they've created. Let's hope our politicians learn a lesson and don't embarrass themselves and all of us again and again.